let's try something a bit different in this video and talk about the issue of abortion. Now, before I get into the video, I would just like to ask that with any topic, for many, I know this topic of abortion is a sensitive or controversial issue for many people, but I simply ask that we stop condemning people for having certain views and that we are just able to talk about the issues that matter.
So I'll break this video into 4 parts: my personal view, religion, the social aspect, and then the political aspect or the historical context of abortion in Japan. So let us begin.
Firstly, I'll state my personal view. So my first thoughts on the issue are that I wish abortion could be completely illegal at any stage, no matter what. But seeing as it's existed for a very long time, it might be impossible and a little bit unrealistic. So instead of pushing for something unrealistic like three months or 4 months in the pregnancy, I would much rather people set a limit as to how long they could do it. Like a 6-week period, a 12-week period would be much better. Now, I'm still very against it. I would not endorse it at any stage, but seeing as if it has to happen, I would much rather it at that stage. And other things influence the way I think as well, as seeing as I'm Christian and I'm vegan, I would be against the killing of any kind or harm of any animal or living human being. And I really think that it transcends politics and the humanity of our future generations, because obviously we won't have people from our decisions that we commit. So that's my view on the issue. So next, I'm gonna give you a brief history and politics surrounding the issue of abortion in Japan. So the first mention of abortion laws in Japan was in 1842 by the shogunate, which is the supreme military leader, like a general. And he basically outlawed infanticide in the country. And the punishments gradually increased until about 1923, and then later on the punishment stopped, but it didn't really progress anywhere. It was basically halted. And from after World War II in 1948, they officially legalized abortion in emergency situations, in the case of rape or the health of the mother or some other emergency situations. And later on, the law was called the Eugenics Protection Law, and then further on they changed the name, Maternal Body Protection Law, and that was amended in 1996. That law would legalize abortion until 22 weeks into pregnancy. Further on, the emergency contraceptive pill was legalized in 2011. So it's a bit unfortunate that they legalized it up until that length of time. But it's much better than the laws in Western countries, which practically legalize abortion all the way up until birth in some places. For the religious aspect in Japan, it's a major difference from that of the States, where the majority religion is Christianity. For Japan, the majority religion is Buddhism, which plays a major difference in the attitude of people surrounding the issue of abortion. In Buddhism, there is no eternal soul, so like in Christianity, but rather they're the elements, or in Buddhism they're called skandhas, the 5 skandhas. So the first one is the form, So matter or body or material form, basically. Second, the sensation or feeling of an object. The perception or cognition. The fourth is mental formation. Fifth, consciousness or awareness. These five skandhas don't come into existence all at the same time, but rather they flow in and out. They merge in and out, like something like a lava lamp. And it takes time forming over years. So they don't have a clear cutoff time, like in Christianity, where life begins from conception. But in Buddhism, one fundamental concept that they do have is that one should not harm any living being, whether it is an animal, a human being, or even a tree or plant for that matter, because once you harm something and you kill it, it's dead. So it violates that fundamental concept in Buddhism. Therefore, abortion is seen as something unfavorable or something bad. Coming from Japan and living practically their entire life in Japan, lots of social issues are considered very taboo, and you can't really talk about it publicly, or else you'll be frowned upon in society. And, you know, abortion, however, is one of those issues where it's not really a major issue like it is in most Western countries. It's overwhelmingly accepted and viewed as a form of birth control, which is pretty sad. And I think, I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but I think about 80% of people support it. Also, not really a lot of stigma attached with people having premarital sex. Lots of people will think that it's completely up to them, and basically they choose lust. Now, some notable things to mention about Japan are, one, they have a very rapid population decrease. And we're so much to the point where the triangle supporting society is inverse. Usually you would think of the young people supporting the society, paying taxes or whatever other social programs that they have in the country. They'll be supporting that. But Japan is inverse, where they have the majority of the population are elderly, and this puts them in a really hard situation. And the second thing to mention is that many children are in the foster care system in Japan. Many of the children that are in the foster care system in Japan are not really looked after. They're rejected by society at large, and they have a very low adoption rate in Japan. And the third thing to mention is they also, they had a choice whether to make a better foster care system where people get adopted, but instead of that, they chose to go down the road of legalizing abortion and pretty much take out their entire future population, which is odd because they have an extremely decreasing population, and you would think that they would support adoption over abortion, but they didn't. And the fourth thing is Japan is very bad at keeping records of abortion, and it is unclear to get the exact numbers of abortion per year, but it's estimated something like 200,000 to 250,000 babies are killed every year. And lastly, for many people, they have a Buddhist ritual ceremony, and I think from the 70s it started to become a big business, and it's called Mizuko Kuyo, and it's translated to water child. It's a memorial service to grieve for the child that was lost in an abortion or a stillbirth or miscarriage. So that's pretty much the only form of or way that people grieve or mourn for their child. Japan is also a perfect example of when what the GOPs or Republicans from the states, when they say, if you normalize abortion and make it easy to get, then make it easy to get to a point where people don't have to really try hard to get an abortion, and you will normalize it, and no one will care about the moral implication of pulling a child out and killing it. And Japan, this statement is so true in Japan because they don't really think about it that much. They don't really think hard about it that much, society-wise. I mean, people who get it obviously have to think about it, but largely they don't. It's not a struggle because many people accept it. Just in case you're wondering, this is the cost of abortion in Japan costs about 130,000 yen to about 190,000 yen, somewhere in between there. And in dollars, that would be about 1,300 for the first 11 weeks, and then that would be about 1,900 for 11 weeks to about 20 weeks and beyond, just in case you're wondering. But it really depends on the patient's physical condition and the doctor's opinion for the late term or advanced pregnancies. The cost may be different. So, but that's just a rough estimate, just in case you were wondering. Hopefully you found this video to be interesting, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, see you then. Thank you for watching.